Graduate to an unsecured line of credit. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Credit Plug channel. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button as well as smash the subscribe button. On today's video, we're going to be going over the Bank of America cash secured line of credit. Now, this is different from their traditional secured business line of credit, and the requirements are much easier. So if you're a newer business, you can still qualify for that. But before we dive into this, I just wanted to differentiate from their actual secured business line of credit. So Bank of America has always had their secured business line of credit. Now, the secure business line of credit, you still had to meet certain criteria. So right here, minimum 2 years in business under existing ownership and a minimum of $250,000 in annual revenue. So their traditional secured business line of credit knocks a lot of small businesses or even newer businesses out of the game because, for one, you need to be in business for at least 2 years, and you need to be generating $250,000. Now, the cash secured line of credit is a little bit different. So with the cash secured line of credit, you can build and strengthen your credit while growing your business. So this is going to be for small businesses with at least $50,000 in annualized revenue and 6 months in business. So as you can see, the requirements are much more lenient than their traditional secure business line of credit. You only need to have $50,000 versus $250,000 in 6 months time in business versus 2 years time in business. Now right here, it says graduate to an unsecured line over time. Security deposits starting at $1,000. So the minimum to put down is $1,000, and you can graduate to an unsecured business line of credit over time. So the path to the unsecured line of credit, first, you're going to apply online. So you apply and fund your account with a minimum deposit of $1,000. And then number two, you're going to keep growing your business. So use your line of credit for operating expenses, payroll, and make regular payments to establish positive account history. And then step three, graduate to an unsecured line. So after a successful review of your account performance, your deposit will be refunded. Account reviews begin at 12 months. So you could essentially graduate from a secured cash line of credit to an unsecured business line of credit within 12 months. So when you make regular on-time payments to build your business credit, after 2 years in business under existing ownership and $100,000 in annual revenue, you can transition to an unsecured line of credit. Your credit line is also refundable. So if your primary goal is to build business credit, your small business can start with a security deposit as low as $1,000, and you could close the account at any time simply by paying off the balance. Once the account has been closed, your security deposit will be refunded. Now, again, the minimum line amount is $1,000, and this does come with a $150 annual fee, but this is waived for the first year. So if you eventually transition to an unsecured account, then it's not going to cost you anything because, again, it's waived in the first year, and you come up for review to an unsecured card after the first 12 months. There's also no origination fees. Now let's compare some of the different line of credit options, right? So you have your Business Advantage credit line. So this is going to be the unsecured account. And then you have the Business Advantage credit line cash secured. So you do have to put down cash to secure the account. Now, with the other secured line of credit, you don't necessarily have to secure it with cash. You can secure it with business assets. But again, that's for more established businesses. Now, when comparing these accounts, right? So again, for the unsecured account, 2 years time in business. For the cash secured line of credit, only 6 months. Minimum sales is going to be $100,000 in the prior annual gross sales. And this is for the unsecured. For the secured is going to be $50,000. The cash secured business line of credit also has a path to graduation to an unsecured option. So again, this is a way for you to transition from secured to unsecured. Now, some of the top frequently asked questions: how is my credit line determined? The credit line amount is equal to the cash security deposit that you provide. The minimum required deposit is $1,000. Also, how do I graduate to an unsecured line of credit? So they will periodically evaluate your cash secured line of credit for eligibility for an unsecured Business Advantage credit line. When you meet lending standards for the unsecured line of credit, they will refund your security deposit. Now, I also just wanted to distinguish the cash secured line of credit versus the secured business line of credit. These are two different products. So the requirements for the secured business line of credit, again, Again, minimum annual revenue of $250,000 and at least 2 years under the current business ownership. Now, just to recap, so Bank of America now offers 3 different business lines of credit. So they have the traditional unsecured business line of credit that requires 2 years time in business. And then you also have the secured business line of credit that also requires 2 years time in business, but also $250,000 in annual revenue. Now, with the cash secured line of credit, this is going to be open for newer businesses that are at least 6 months old and have $50,000 in annual gross revenues. Now, this is going to open the door for a lot of small businesses, because one of the big complaints I hear all the time is that a lot of businesses can't get access to business lines of credit because they don't have those 2 years time in business, or usually 2 years of business tax returns to qualify at most commercial banks. So overall, I think this is a game changer by Bank of America, because not only will you have access to a line of credit, a business line of credit that will help you with building your business credit. And what's also unique is that this cash secured line of credit also has a path to graduation. So you could eventually transition to an unsecured line of credit where you actually get your security deposit back and also potentially get a credit limit increase. Now, from my understanding, this may be one of the only secured business lines of credit or cash secured lines of credit on the business side that have a path to graduation. Now, one of the differences between a secured business line of credit versus a secured credit card, for example, is that with the secured business line of credit, you're able to withdraw or draw down on the full amount of the line of credit. So it's essentially just the same as almost having money in your checking account. So you have full access to the funds. So even though you're putting down the deposit, you still have 100% access. You can pull the entire amount off. So overall, I think this is an absolute game changer, especially for newer businesses, to not only build business credit, also have access to your money and build a banking relationship with one of the top financial institutions in the country. Anyways, let me know your comments and questions right down below. And until next time, take it easy and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.